what's up? Welcome to Project Freelance, the show all about freelancing. My name is Kay, and this is my podcast where I give you tips and tricks on how to better fulfill your dreams, your passions. And I also have a bunch of my friends and really cool guests on the show to share their stories about how they built their businesses and the mistakes they made along the way so that you can skip those mistakes and just be one step ahead of your competition. Welcome to Project Freelance. My guest this week on the show is Eli James. He was on back in 2019. He was one of my first guests on the show, actually. And Eli created a brand called Ghost Circus Apparel. And it was a custom cut and sew concept. And he decked out a bunch of really, well-known rock stars, Frank Zumo from Sum 41, a bunch of really amazing artists. And I was gifted a pair of Ghost Circus pants back in the day and connected with Eli, and we've been friends ever since. So I did have him on in 2019 to talk about Ghost Circus Apparel, and I wanted to bring him back on to see what he was up to in the past couple of years, to see where the brand has gone and what he's added onto his plate as far as a creator goes. So welcome, Eli, back to the show with me, everybody. Thank you for tuning in. This is Project Freelance. Eli, welcome back. Let's get into this podcast. You were one of the first guests I had on this podcast back in 2019 when you were just baby brand, still cutting your teeth and doing the thing. So I definitely want to talk about where Ghost Circus has gone. And first of all, how has the overall vision for Ghost Circus evolved since 2019?
Well, first off, I didn't even realize that I was one of the first, which is great. That's awesome. Yeah. I'm glad to be back. This is cool. Maybe not so long in between sessions.
Yeah.
But I'm glad we're still alive.
Yes. Oh my God.
Between that, we're still kicking.
The dark years.
The dark years. Well, it's funny. So I actually started Ghost Circus in 2015. Mm-hmm. And so I was just crushing it until I guess the time that we met. I think we met before. I mean, obviously a year or two before.
Right. Just through shows and, passing, friends that wore your stuff. And I remember my friend, he is a drummer, but he had an old pair of the sweatpants with the zippers on the ankles, and one of the zippers was broken, and he was like, "Do you want these?" And I was like, "Yeah," and I still have them.
Oh, rad. Okay, that's
great.
What's up.
I love them.
So it's kind of crazy because I don't know if you know, but I started Ghost Circus not trying to create a brand. I was a touring drummer myself, and I was like, let me make some clothes, make it cool, whatever. And then after making my first pair of everything, even going to the store, I was so embarrassed. I shouldn't even be walking outside my house with these. But then everybody's like, "Oh my God, where'd you get that?" And I'm like, "Well, I made it." And they're like, "Yo, you should make me some." I'm like, "Okay, cool." So it actually just started naturally, but within 3 months, from Ellen DeGeneres to the Marilyn Manson camp to all a bunch of people, and I was like, I think I got to make a brand. So I was always into ghosts, and my life was a circus. So I was like, well, let's do it, Ghost Circus, let's make it happen. And then I actually got an opportunity to work with a company called Blackcraft back in the day. They Bobby followed me for ever. And we were friends forever, and he hit me up, and he's like, "Dude, we need a designer." And I'm like, "Okay, cool." And I didn't really know much, but he's like, "You could do this, right?" And I'm like, "Yeah, of course." And said yes to an opportunity, and gratefully he gave me that chance. And we did a lot of stuff. I designed for Blackcraft as a fashion designer, and trying to get their brand from just shirts, into a whole bunch of other stuff. So I was raising the value of the brand. Mm-hmm. But we sold out of 21 items or 21 styles real quick. We did 300 to 500 units per style. And anyway, so I realized real quickly, oh shoot, I could actually help other brands. Mm-hmm. And so it went from Ghost Circus to Ghost Circus merch. So the apparel side to the merch side pretty quick. But I don't want to bore you too much.
I'm not bored. This is amazing. I love hearing the foundation story, and that's my favorite.
Cool. Well, then, yeah. I mean, so I just was like, hey, I can help other brands, and so I started getting connected with other brands and companies, and being like their go-to guy for whether it's the design, or if it was like unique items that they don't have. So one way or another, I was like either designing something and manufacturing it here, or finding something that no one else or not other brands were getting or they have, and so I would actually go get that and provide it to them, and just giving a different service. And because fashion's so in and out, I was like, oh man, what can we do next? And a friend of mine was like, he was looking for a specific garment, and it was a dye process. And I asked my buddy Todd Junker from Junker Designs, like, hey, how do you do this? And he goes, oh, it's a dye process. And I was like, dang it. So I was confirming that it was a dye process, and I didn't want to get into dye. So I try to reverse it. And I was like, okay, I could get into bleaching. And so I started bleaching like a bunch of stuff. And it didn't look at all like what they wanted, but I had like 20 things. I brought it to them, and they're like, pretty much every design that I made in the bleaching world, they're like, dude, this is sick. So out of like 20 of them, they like picked 15, and from Dillinger to Escape Plan to August Burns Red to, I mean, all the Warped Tour bands. Yeah. Basically, he was the merchandising company for those bands.
Wow.
And so he basically put about 150,000 bleached units in that year through Warped Tour. Yeah, and it kind of expanded, and so I was like, oh, I think I found my thing, and eventually the bleaching was going out, and I got, oh man, I need to figure out what can subsidize this income, as a business. So there was either printing or there was embroidery and finishing, but no one really touched finishing.
Yeah.
But so I was like, well, everybody's a printer, so I'll try it with embroidery. And I picked up my embroidery machine in 2017. It's like they're like $120,000, so
it's just like for the low cost.
Yeah, no big deal. So I was like, oh shit, okay. So I dove into that, and then
that's like a big like risk, like investment wise, because you didn't really know like if it would succeed or not. So what made you kind of go all in on embroidery? Like was there like somebody that was like, this is gonna work, or were you just like, if this doesn't work, nothing, like I'm fucked?
Well, it's funny. I didn't think that if this doesn't work, I never thought that.
See, that's the real like entrepreneur mindset. Is there is no plan B. This is it.
Yeah.
That's it.
Yeah, but it was funny because I guess it's true, right? But it's like it never really crossed my mind to like think otherwise. Like I was just like, well, here we go. This is the next step. And I had customers, right, and clients that were ordering embroidery stuff, and I was just outsourcing to my vendors. And so I was like, well, if I bring it in-house, then it'll open that up. I'll be able to make more profit. And we had like 15 people there like working with the bleaching, and I'd be able to help support them as well, and do all that stuff. And so I just dove into it, not understanding that it was just going to be a doorstop for 6 months, literally a 6,000-pound doorstop. So it was a good learning lesson, but nonetheless, I just juggled and did everything that kind of came on board, and I got up for it was like season 17 of Project Runway, if you remember that show.
Oh yeah.
And so I was cast as one of the 12, and then that whole big like fiasco happened with the owner of the production company, Weinstein, I think it was. I don't remember. Whatever fiasco happened where all of a sudden they're not putting the show out, but it's casted. So another production company picked it up, and they can't use the same cast because they use a casting director. So if they use the same cast, that casting director that works with the other production company would have to give them the credit, but no one wants to give them the credit if it becomes successful.
No. Oh my God.
Yeah, so I went through the whole rigmarole to be on Project Runway season 17. It went down. Damn. But then the casting directors were like, yo, like, we loved you still. Come to the Heidi and Tim show. Like, we don't know what we're going to call it, but it's basically another one. And they sequestered me into that. And so I did that. Got top 20. And then it was funny because at the end they're just like, they let me go. Like pretty much the first night. And out of 20. And I was like, wait, this doesn't make sense. Like, you told me to basically be honest and tell them like everything I'm doing. And I'm like
Yeah.
helping design for 8 companies. I'm head of manufacturing. I'm doing all this stuff. And they're like, yeah, this is great. The producers want to know this because that's what the show's about and that you can work
Right.
with other people. And I'm like, great. And apparently Tim and Heidi, they're like, at first they're like, oh, we already have a designer like you. And I'm like, I was
Ah,
like, I was like, oh,
debatable.
yeah. I said, I told the cast director, she was so sweet, she was awesome. I was like, hey, can you just hit me real? I mean, I'm an adult, I understand.
Yeah.
Like, there's no one else there. Like my style, they're all great, they're just different.
Sure.
And she was like, look, dude, he's like, they think you're too successful already. You don't need the show. And I'm like, wait, what? Like,
That's wild.
wait,
That's
what?
insane.
Yeah, they're like, you need to give other people a chance. I'm like, well, that doesn't make sense. That's like somebody really good that can sing really, really good, and they can't get into America's Got Talent because they're too
Because they're
good,
too good.
or
That's a
something.
crazy thing to say.
Yeah, I was like,
Wow.
wait,
Oh
what?
my
And I was
God.
like, okay, well, I don't know if I could sleep at night with that. Still,
Yeah.
I was like, whatever. What an opportunity.
Yeah.
But yeah, and then the COVID happened, right? And so because I designed forever, and I was like, COVID was happening. My wife's like, hey, you should make a mask. I was like,
Mm-hmm.
sure, it'll give me something to do for a few weeks. But she's like, you should put it online because you're going to help people. I'm like, okay, that's interesting. So I put it up online, and within the first day, we sold like 60. Second day was like 120. Third day was
Yeah.
like 300, and we're making them in our garage. So we're like, wait, so the next day was like 400. The next day was 750. And then
Oh.
we're like, oh, wait,
Yeah, like
sweating.
we have to make these. How
Yeah,
now?
we made them. We kept up
Oh.
until we couldn't. And then
Yeah.
within 2 weeks, we're like, well, let's send this to our buddies, Kellen Quinn
Mm-hmm.
and all our influencer
Mm-hmm.
friends, right? And just help them one, but maybe they'll help spread the love because not
Yeah.
many people can get the face masks.
Right.
And it organically just kind of took off. But long short story, I had to go downtown. There's like it was like post-apocalyptic.
Oh
No
yeah,
one
I
was
remember.
downtown.
I remember doing like when I was still living in California, I was doing like drone videos of COVID because there's no one around, and so I would just go like
Yeah,
fly in the city and like no cars, no people, and I was like, this is the craziest like zombie land type shit I've ever seen.
yeah. No, it
It was
was
nuts.
nuts. Like I've never seen it like this slow, and I was down there all the time for like
Mm-hmm.
10 years.
Sure.
And I just started knocking on the back door of all of my fabric guys, and only one answered. And they're like, "Dude, you can't. They're gonna shut me down." I'm like, "It's okay. We got our permit through the city, through the Burbank Police Department to be essential workers. So
Wow.
we had it, and I said, I can extend this to you. You don't have to worry." And they're like, "Yeah, but I just don't want to get fined. But coming through the back." And we're like, "Okay." That happened with four of my manufacturers. Three of them said no. One of them said yeah.
Wow.
And so I was like, okay, so I met up with them, and the same thing. Everything was blacked out. You have to
Mm.
come through the back. No one knows we're
Wow.
here. Cars aren't even on the street. We're like,
Dude,
oh,
that's like what was the when the like prohibition type shit. Like
yeah.
underground like
Like, what
wow.
is this? It was crazy, and I was like, okay. But we ended up getting to a point where like we couldn't keep up,
Sure.
and my mother-in-law was like, shut it down, like just catch up and then reopen it.
Yeah.
And I'm like, that doesn't make sense. I was like, I'll call my guy. I know one, I can do two things: is one, shut it down, or two, do something so dumb and promote the shit out of it. So I called my buddy, the only guy that knows how to promote in my world.
Yeah.
I was like, let's go, bro. And so we ended up, I mean, it was crazy. We started selling 6,000, almost 7,000 a day.
What the
And
fuck?
we would make 7,000 a day and ship 7,000 a day. And we had a 24-hour like customer service channel.
Oh wow.
Within 3 weeks, all of a sudden, you go from like $10,000 in mass sales in a few days to $850,000 in mass sales in 30 days. And you're like, oh my God. And not only that, but the thing was, the cool thing about it is the fact that we helped over 300,000 people in such a
Sure.
short amount of time. And not only that, we gave over, I think it was 200 people work here while no one else
Yeah,
was
yeah.
working.
For sure.
They were able to pay for food.
Mm.
We would get thousands of emails of how thankful they are because they couldn't go to work if the mask wasn't there. And so
Right.
there's a lot of like really cool like bonuses like that. We're just here to
Yeah.
help, and we pivoted, which kind of like it on the back end of business wise, it kind of screwed us up on our back end of the store.
Sure.
Because it took it from one avatar and made it like seven.
Yeah.
So targeting correctly for the brand, it really developed a gnarly ecosystem, if you will.
Oh yeah, I'm sure. Like, and like talk about like that ripple effect that you have. Like, you had this, or your wife had this idea, and you kind of ran with it, and then like the ripple effect of like helping people not only be able to feed themselves and their families, but like also like helping people with the actual functionality of a product that serves a purpose.
Yeah.
It's just amazing to like hear stories, and like you're telling me this story and I'm like, damn, why didn't I like go film this? Because that's crazy.
I know.
Like that's a fucking documentary right there, But of course it's
God.
very like COVID, and like it would only have like a brief time for it to be like watched, you know what I mean? Because like it's such a niche type of thing, but it is still so fascinating, and like the history books, and like like we kind of lived through this crazy chaotic time, and like didn't know if we could go outside, and like it's just wild.
There's like there's human rights,
yeah, 100%.
matter, like everybody.
There was so much going on still. Yeah.
And it was really crazy. Yeah, and then you couldn't get toilet paper. I mean. It was such a gnarly time for sure, and we're very lucky, I'm very lucky that I have the relations I have with all my manufacturers and just everybody that surrounded us at the time. Not to mention it, which was really interesting, is every little part has a dynamic, right? So people didn't want to work because they're getting paid from the government, and then once everything was getting lifted, people still didn't want to work because they're getting paid more from the government than getting paid for at work. So going through that whole economic like situation was just kind of crazy, but we made it. Yeah, we made it through, and things kind of moved on, and then literally when the mask thing started coming out, like the Go Circus merch started taking off again. We're like literally highest ever, like everything was 10x pretty much every month. It was a crazy time, and I'm like, oh man. So through that time, I actually met some really 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 phenomenal people. Who's now my COO, which is Nico, and my CSO, and he's the head of sales, which is Greg. They're like two amazing partners that we literally just partnered up about 6 months ago.
Wow.
In July, and took Go Circus merch from where it was to like, basically they come from like a really big merchandising company.
Yeah.
And they're head of sales and they're head of productions. So I give them offer letters to go, hey, we have a great infrastructure of clients, and we would like more clients, and let's team up and let's make this work, and it'll be fun. And so they're basically, with all their knowledge and all my knowledge, we're kind of putting this structure together where no one really has the same structure. No one's using AI like we're using AI. No one's using like systems and processes that we're using, and how to cut fat to go from point A to point B. And we have like a full service merchandising company now. And that's really the main focus, is all Go Circus merch, with Go Circus Apparel is like the kind of the spearhead.
Sure.
So we're doing our 10-year anniversary. We're doing huge marketing campaign around it. And we're kind of going, hey, this is what we did for Go Circus and all these other brands. We can do the same thing for you as Go Circus merch.
Right. And I just released today, so this will be like a week ago once this episode comes out, but I posted a podcast about like the future of AI for freelancers, and you can either use it as a tool or you can fall behind, basically. Like you don't really have a choice at this. Like, it's here to stay, and it's only going to like progress and get more intuitive, and as machine learning continues and things like that. And so I think it's cool to hear that you're also like integrating AI tools and processes into your own business to like really help escalate things and cut out that like those monotonous tasks, and just speed things up. I think it's a great way to like go from where you are and like really elevate if you embrace it, and I feel like people are still too afraid to embrace it, but I feel like it's, if you use it right, it will only help you.
Yeah, I think people have to start thinking outside the box when it comes
Mm,
to AI, because it's not, you can allow it to take over your job, sure, but you could also use it as a tool.
hmm
And so, for example, like designers, people are like, "Oh my gosh, I'm a graphic designer. My job's completely done." Okay, well, time out here. Why don't you look at it a different way? Why don't you go, well, let me find the best tools that can create new designs that's way faster than me, but be the best at it and put it in my toolbox. And so I
hmm
could still come to the plate and go, oh, I could deliver X, Y, and Z in way better quality, way better time, give you more options for the same price, and use it as a tool to step ahead versus being scared that everything's going to take over your job, you know.
hmm
This is just like the in the farming industry when tractors were made, you know.
Right, right.
It's like it's the same kind of thing, right? So
Yeah.
you better figure it out and move. So even with us, we've implemented what we call AI agents. So and a lot of the big dogs are doing it already.
Mm.
They're ahead of the game, but we're trying to be 16 to 18 months ahead of our like the small business curve. And so we're like planning out like, well, what's happening then so we can figure out what we're doing now. And even as small as it is, where we have an AI agent, and she is omni-channel. So we have an AI agent as a customer service rep on our
Sure.
website. So if you go on our website, and as of next week, you can call us directly. It's an AI agent, but you're
Wow.
like, hey, this is what I'm looking for. Can you do minimums of blah blah blah, like t-shirts? Hi, good to good to hear you. This is welcome to Go Circus merch. Yes, we can actually, and blah blah blah. And then it'll guide you to a phone conversation with Greg or somebody else on our team that's a
Wow.
real human to get you on the phone to see if we can help further and get you whatever you need in the merchandising space. But you could text it now or you could call it, and then it's also the same agent that's on Instagram, TikTok, Twitter,
Oh,
Facebook.
okay. And like your messaging.
Yep, all my
Wow. Okay.
messaging. So if you go on gcmerch.ai, and you can mess around with it if you want, but you're like, where's my free shirt? It'll tell you. It'll reply. It'll give
Wow.
you like it's kind of fun. But if you go in there,
Did you guys name her?
I not yet. We haven't. I don't think we named her yet. But what's interesting is so we're actually dabbling in AI influencers as well. So
Whoa.
we've started EliJames.ai and we're starting Zaya.ai, and they're both influencers to kind of spearhead with Go Circus Apparel. So their follower base is all going to be pointed towards Go Circus Apparel,
Sure.
and then Go Circus Merch is the one that produces Go Circus Apparel. So from
Right.
there, the connection is the Go Circus Merch. It's all under one umbrella, but yeah, we created it. So we use tools to create the photos.
Sure.
We basically copied my
Yeah.
face. So if you go to EliJames.ai on Instagram, none of that is me real. None of it is me real. Not I created the pictures using a tool.
Sure.
I created the music using a tool.
Sure.
I'm a musician. I know it's cheating, but whatever.
No, yeah. Listen, like I have a secret. Well, it's not a secret if I'm telling you about it, but I have like a anonymous YouTube channel where I make like AI generated lo-fi music
Yeah.
with like AI generated lo-fi visuals. It's all
Okay.
AI. Like
Yeah.
the descriptions, everything. It's just like one of those like cash cow channels essentially.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
also love like the lo-fi girl channels. I was like, I kind of want to do something like that, but like more like in like the futuristic,
Yeah.
like a futuristic version of that, and make it like more kind of funky and cool.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean like it's so interesting that like to hear that other people are kind of doing this kind of stuff, and I love that you're like directing everything back to the same place. Like
Yeah.
that's the key there.
The key, yeah. So, and eventually, what's really cool is, so we have cold outreach, and it's using AI to basically help do the outreach, right? So
Mm-hmm.
once you get those influencers into a position, then you can actually start messaging all your followers,
Mm-hmm.
and you can message up to 50 per day
Mm-hmm.
with rules, laws, regulations.
Right, right.
Message cold message up to 50 a day, whoever you're following. You could scrape other big accounts and follow
Sure.
them and do all this whole thing, sure. But the big point is you literally send the messages more. there's more people that open their messages on Instagram than LinkedIn, than TikTok.
Oh, for
Especially
sure.
so Instagram is, and especially Facebook is number two, but it's
Yeah.
Instagram, Facebook, and all the rest.
Right.
But if we can get 50 out, let's say we create 10 of these influencers, and each one of them has 100,000 followers, and the reach on that is fantastic. But we could send 50 messages per day. That's 500 messages per day that we could send out cold outreach.
Wow.
That all of a sudden is 5,000 every 10 days. Then it's 15,000 a month of cold outreach just based off of creating an AI like influencer army.
Wow, that's so creative.
Yeah,
Wow,
you
that's
can,
so fucking creative.
yeah, but there's implementation of it, right?
Of
There's
course.
there's a lot to it. Like so when I expanded Go Circus merch, two things is I actually got into a coaching program because I was like, I'm investing here and I'm buying property and doing all this stuff, but I'm like, I'm not really focused, and I needed like more focus. I was like, I need to talk to somebody that's done it before. I've not done it. My parents haven't. My dad's not done it. No one that I know has done it. So I found a guy, Dan Martell. He's awesome. He's exited 3 companies for a lot of money.
Sure.
And so I joined his coaching program. And the first thing, it was funny because the first thing's like, okay, well, what are your goals? And I'm like, well, I'm an artist. See, and whatever comes.
He's like,
And
no.
Let's go. He goes, yeah, that's cute. What are your goals? Yeah. So I started writing down my goals, and doors started opening up.
Yeah.
Like literally, well, I want $100 million revenue a year company. Why not? Like there's so many people doing it. Why not?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, how do I get that within 10 years? Well, then X, Y, Z. What about 5? What about 2? What about 1? And then the opportunities started coming. So the doors started opening up with Nico. He became my COO. So gave him an offer letter. He came on board. As I was selling, I trained him as a COO, and he implemented all his knowledge as well. So I was mainly training him on our processes.
Right.
And so he can make them better, and then he can also implement what he knows. And then from there, we got Greg on board. I did the same thing until he's like, all right, dude, too many cooks in the kitchen. Get out of here. So all of a sudden, my COO is there, my CSO is there. Now I'm the CMO. And now I'm as marketing, I have no idea. I think I do okay, but I'm not. I mean, I got to figure it out. So that's where my head's at now, and trying to make it work. But we're definitely hitting targets. We're 2025 is going to be a huge year for us, and we're excited for sure.
Wow, it's so great to hear that you've continued to grow this business, and just to watch over the years the different drops come out, and it's always exciting, and you've kind of stayed true to the overall theme. You haven't really for example, a lot of bands will go in a whole different fucking direction, and you're like, what happened? But I feel you've stayed very true to the authenticity of why you started this, and it's evolved and grown, but it's still that that small little dream that you had is still there. I think that's awesome.
Well, thank you. Yeah,
absolutely. So since bringing all these people on and growing and scaling, what's been the biggest challenge you faced in the last couple of years, 4 years?
Well, there's a lot of challenges in 4 years.
Sure.
The biggest challenge I had to face was getting out of my own way.
Yeah.
Because how we all grew up our own specific way, but they're very similar to a greater or lesser degree, where we have adopted limiting beliefs around money, around people, around being rich, or whatever it is that even limiting beliefs on, can you actually make it as an artist?
Right.
And then maybe someone's like, no, because I can't. They need to go to college and all this stuff or whatever. Well, overcoming certain limiting beliefs was a huge one for me. And then especially, and a lot of entrepreneurs think this, is that you can't find someone that will be as good as you. And I've learned a long time ago that there's it's called a 10-80-10 rule. 10% setup, you set it up, 10%, 80% somebody else does, and 10% you put in a pretty bow and call it a day. That's 80% time that you just bought back for a bigger part of your vision that you can go focus on. So, and eventually they will be able to do 100% of it, and even way better than you. And so you go, okay, great. So if you start off with a 10-80-10 rule, and understand that there are other people that can do something as good as you, if not better,
Sure.
then you start to kind of get out of your way. Like that's a little limiting belief, is that you no, like if I want it done right, I'll just do it myself.
Sure, of course.
Okay. But
Yeah.
that was a big one. That was like one of the biggest ones.
Yeah.
And also another one was asking for help,
Yeah.
realizing like I've not done this before. Like I need guidance on how to get there. And
Mm.
just so you know, every coach out there in the world has a coach, and every coach needs a coach. Like
Yeah.
it's no shame getting a coach and going, "Hey
Yeah.
dude, you did it," or hey, hey whoever, you did it. I need some help here.
Yeah. And going back a little bit to your like the like dream and like growing the dream and things like that, like and writing down your goals and things. I'm a big believer in like if you speak it into existence, it's like 90% more likely to happen than if you don't. So
Yeah.
like if you have an idea, like write it down, tell somebody, text somebody about it. And even if it's like the craziest fucking idea you've ever thought in your life, if you put it out there, like maybe somebody knows somebody that can like help you get there or like, make that thing happen. And I mean, a great example is, so I shoot rocket launches with a team out at SpaceX, and I hit them up with this like just insane idea. I was like, hear me out. I have this crazy idea. And so I like pitched them this idea, and they were like, yeah, well, how can we make this happen? And I was like, I have no idea, but I have like another friend that's in the space community, and I hit him up about the idea, and he was like, I know a guy that's like really high up in like, the sphere that can probably help make this happen. And so it's like, if you just like talk about it, like I think that it's more likely to happen, no matter what it is, no matter what space you're in, what industry you're in, like no matter what your goals and dreams are, like if you speak about it, like it is more likely going to happen for sure.
Yeah, speak about it, visualize it, put it down on paper,
For
and
sure.
then other people want to help other people. That's
Yeah.
literally like I think everybody is basically good, you know?
Yes.
And if someone can be of some assistance, they're like, "Oh, dude, let me help you get to your goal." Like,
Yeah.
and so stop being afraid of telling your goals or talking about it a little bit, you
Yeah.
know?
Yeah,
Um,
definitely.
even though it could be outrageous to people, like
Yeah.
but that's okay.
Yeah.
And hey, if your dream is $100 million, go for $2 billion.
Yeah.
If you end up going for $2 billion, and at the end of the day you get $300 million, well, that's just three times what what you
Exactly.
originally planned. So who cares?
Exactly. Yeah, I just made a post before we hopped on. It's
Yeah.
like some rocket launch footage. And
Okay.
the caption is literally, in 2024, we learned that the sky isn't the limit anymore.
Yeah, it's just the beginning.
Exactly. There's so
You know,
much out there.
It's so much out there. I think it was like maybe 6 years ago, but I keep telling people, because people are like, "Oh, the sky's the limit. Sky's the limit." I'm like, "No, it's not. Sky's not the limit. It's the
If
beginning."
if the sky's the limit, why are there footprints on the moon?
Yeah, for
You know what I
heaven's
mean?
sake. Yeah,
Come on.
I get it.
Come on now. Oh my gosh. So,
Yeah.
as like a designer, like how do you stay ahead of like such a competitive market?
That's a good one.
Yeah.
It's funny, as I was talking to the guys too about this. It's like, you could ask people what's coming in next, and you can ask people, well, what was 30 years ago, and let's
Mm.
try to figure that out and like plan around a strategic move, and put it out there. But I think I found more of my success just by doing, like, getting to the drawing board, creating, and something will come. And don't worry about anything else. Well, I didn't start Go Circus because I was like, whoa, those are cool designers. I actually
Sure.
was like super naive in the space. Who's Rick Owens? But you design exactly like Rick Owens. I was like, who? I don't know who that is, but okay, cool, man, thanks.
Sick.
Not knowing.
Yeah.
And I'm like, wait, he does have style kind of like me, or whatever, or for the vision that I had, but I had no idea. And then twists and turns will come along as long as you're creating. And I think staying ahead of the curve is almost an accident. But here's what's funny. Now that I like looking at it, now that I have like almost 10 years, we'll be 10 in March. 7 years ago, fashion. So every 7 years ago, whatever I did 7 years ago is now in,
Oh yeah.
which is weird, because I'm like, oh, so all the distressed and bleaching was yesterday, but the distress is now coming back.
Yeah.
I didn't do. I did oversized tops, never did oversized bottoms, but
Mm.
Jinkos from 25 years ago is
Yeah,
coming
yeah.
back.
Yeah.
Things like that. But if it's here and you see it, it's too late. Some people want
Mm.
to go, oh, let me make something like that because the kids are in it now. I'm like,
It's
well,
already
first
over.
off, it's it's over, and at the same time, is that your avatar? And as a
Mm.
business, people don't understand really what an avatar is, but it's like your perfect buyer.
Yeah.
Avatar equals your perfect buyer. And so if you don't know who your avatar is and you don't know what they need and want, you think of it as fishing.
Yeah.
Like if you would you go fishing for salmon in Florida? And the answer is no, because
Yeah. Yeah.
salmon's not in
In
that
Florida. Yeah.
Florida.
Climate.
Uh,
Yeah.
yeah, climate. But if you're fishing for salmon, don't go there. And then you
Mm.
need the bait, and you need the hook, and you need the
Yeah.
reel, and you need all the other stuff. So go where your clients are. Go where that is. And so you kind of have to understand and develop that. You won't really find that until you get track record,
Right.
release something, push it out there, talk to people, go in your neighborhood, figure it out, and then based off that, get people on your website, and then people that start purchasing. Then you can get lookalike audiences, and
Mm.
then you can target them if you want to jump into the ad spends. I wouldn't do it until you actually have some organic traffic,
Sure.
just because otherwise you'll start losing money on ad spends. But that's a whole other conversation. But yeah, a lot of people don't understand that it's not just as easy as that is. There are some companies that do good at, like, jumping ahead of the curve, or seeing what's selling on Amazon, and they'll go get
Mm.
it duplicated and create that same thing on Amazon. Amazon
Right.
does it.
Right.
Amazon, if I had a t-shirt out, I don't know if you know this or not, but if I had a t-shirt out and it was blown up and it's on Amazon, Amazon will go, oh, cool. So let's go ahead and make that same shirt a little different, mark it $1 less, put it under our own store, suppress their store, and push our
Wow.
store out.
Wow. Damn it,
Yeah.
Bezos. Why you gotta be like that?
I
That's
mean,
crazy. But I get
yeah,
it. It's business. They gotta
it's
compete
business.
somehow, right?
Yeah,
Damn.
I mean, what a smart way to go. Like
Yeah.
if anything's becoming, a moneymaker,
Viral or whatever. Yeah.
yeah, cash roll, cash, whatever. But just duplicate what they're doing. We have the
Yeah.
contact, suppress their store, put ours up in front, make it $1 cheaper,
Wow.
and then retarget to all of their clients as on reorders, reorder from them because they're $1 cheaper.
That's brilliant. It's brilliant. It's brilliant.
It is
Damn
brilliant.
it.
You can't
You
kind
can't
of
be
fault
mad
them.
at it. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
But damn, that's crazy. I didn't know they
I-
did that. But I mean, it makes sense. It totally makes sense. Wow. Wow.
yeah.
That's amazing.
So that's part of the 10 years of being in the space that,
Yeah.
some people have great luck and some people it doesn't happen to. It's not
True. True.
everybody.
Yeah. What are some current or upcoming collaborations or projects that you're like super stoked to be working on that you can
Well,
talk about?
yeah, so there's actually 3 that we can't talk about.
Word.
But we just did one with Escape the Fate, and that was
Yeah.
awesome. We did a denim jacket, and it had like a whole bunch of patches.
Mm.
And we were really stoked because they wanted to do these pins that you put on the jacket, but
Yeah.
each pin represented an album that they have. And
Cool.
so there's like 7 different albums, 7 different pins, and then there's some Ghost Circus pins, and they're very unique. So you got those with the jacket if you purchase the jacket, and we did really, really, really well with those, and that was awesome. And we're looking to do another collaboration with them
Nice.
in 2025. But yeah, there's 3 others that we're talking to now, that we want to do something, I think, around the same time as the 10-year anniversary, maybe before
Okay.
after.
Word. Mm.
But yeah, I think 2025 is going to be year of the collaborations for sure.
Hell yeah. I love
Yeah.
that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it'll be fun.
That's very cool. And I mean, you kind of already talked about it. Like, where do you see Ghost Circus in the next 5 years?
Go Circus Apparel or Go Circus merch, because they are 2 different.
They are 2 different things. I mean both. So yeah, just tell me about like both. Obviously, Ghost Circus Apparel is like what I like know and love you for, but I definitely want to get into like the merch side of it as well for like my bands and things like that, So it's like
Yeah.
the collaboration is infinite. There's infinite possibilities there.
Yeah, well, so Go Circus Apparel, I want to get it back to where it was at the end of 2020. That would be really, rad. Like, it's a little different. So it's still a mountain to climb.
Sure.
But yeah, the revenue based off of 2020, that'd be great within 5 years to get this
Hmm.
back, if not sooner.
Sure.
And then GC merch is probably going to 10x that, just on the other side, because we can actually help so many more people, and
Mm.
that's what really, like, even us three is like our whole heart, everything, our whole heart, our soul is on helping other brands, bands, companies, even weed companies create
Hmm.
something special, whether it's giveaways, like, shoot, we do these temporary tattoos,
Love it.
and all anything merchandise that you could possibly think of. We help other brands and bands and stuff do,
Sure.
and then we also have a fulfillment center in house. So
Nice.
we do Shopify management. We can help with marketing and promotion and all that good stuff, design work, live events, touring, logistics, production, obviously, whether it's South America or overseas or here in the States.
Right.
But there's so much more room to grow. I think on both ends. Maybe I'll get them to compete. If
Okay.
one,
Yeah. Yeah.
you
Yeah.
know what
Yeah.
I
That's
mean?
cool. That's cool. That's cool. That's cool.
Yeah,
Little friendly competition between yourself and yourself.
yeah. I mean,
I love it. I love it.
But
Oh,
yeah,
that's awesome.
yeah, it's all good stuff. I'm really stoked. I'm excited. There's a lot of challenging things, especially right now with the AI stuff. So getting
Sure.
ahead of the curve and then believing in that,
Yeah.
before, not even before anybody else is, because there are some people that are, but it's really the big dogs because they have the pocketbooks.
Of course.
But getting ahead of the game, because AI is like Bitcoin in 2013.
Sure.
So AI now is like Bitcoin in 2013. So if you get into it and understand it, it only helps.
Hmm.
You could have a 10-person army with 10 AI agents under each person. And all of a sudden you have 110 employees, but 100 of the 110 don't take a break. They
Yep.
don't have headaches. They don't have bills to pay. They don't have time off. They're
Hmm.
100% there, and it's crazy. So if you can do that with a core few
Hmm.
and really adopt and understand the AI journey, that they can help you versus take away from you, then you'll be ahead of the game for sure.
Yeah. So, and I guess one of the last things I want to ask is like with all the stuff you have going on with the company, and how do you find like that work life balance? Like, tell me about like life outside of Go Circus. How's that going for
Yeah,
you?
it's great. Well, the wife and I went through a 4-year journey to
Mm-hmm.
get a little nugget
Yep.
through
How
IVF.
is how is your little nugget?
Yeah, she's great. She just turned 2. She's
Oh,
definitely learning how to talk back, tell me, tell me what to do.
she's a little
See,
person now.
a little
Yeah.
shit. You know what I mean? No, but she knows. She knows. She's like,
That's funny.
she knows what she's doing. It is crazy, but it's almost like you know what she's saying, but she gets upset because she can't say it.
Right, the way she wants to. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Like,
She
you
doesn't have like
skinny
the
little,
vocabulary.
yeah,
Yeah.
give me that juice, you skinny little, the beep 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 beep. No, but she's amazing. So
Mm.
recently, I think within the last 6 months, Tara, my wife Tara, and I decided to have her go to daycare, which was humongous. I mean, Tara and I like this part was just horrendous because we would literally I'd wake up at 3:54. That's normal, but I would do my little routine and then take care of the little one right when I got home. So Tara would take care of her basically through the night and all the way until I got home at noon.
Oof.
And then I would high five Tara and take over from noon to 8
Yeah.
at night. And then I would go to bed at 8 or what, I put her down, do her, routine and all that good stuff and then go to bed. But now that we have her in daycare, she's at daycare from 6 o'clock to about 5,
Wow.
uh, pretty much Monday through Friday. So then I can handle my stuff, Tara can handle her stuff, and she's learning so much and she's
Mm.
talking way better and she's getting those relationship skills with other
Yeah.
people. And yeah, and then actually it was 2 days ago she is just starting to understand potty training, which is great.
Hell yeah.
And so she sat on the potty and she closed the door and mom tried to peek her head in. She's like, no, and closed the door. And then mom came in and there's a little little nugget on the ground. And I'm like, she missed, but it was there. She tried.
She tried. That's awesome.
But yeah, so it is interesting, but the work is through the day. The life is around 5 till the end of the night, and the weekends. I'm because I was able to buy my time back. Luckily, I can have the weekend, so I'm not focused on, the sales side and the production side. They can do that because they're phenomenal at it, and I can focus on my other things.
I love that.
Yeah, that's great.
Well, I'm stoked for you, man. I've always loved following your journey, and over the years you've always been super supportive of me, and it's cool to hear what you've been able to accomplish and kind of where you hope to go next. And if people want to kind of get involved in any way, whether it's to buy something or collaborate or help you in any way, how can they find you?
Yeah, well, all the social medias or whatever, go Circus _, on Instagram, or gcmerch.ai or Eli James, all that good stuff. But if you guys, if anybody has like friends or bands or companies that need merchandising, whether it's an app company or a weed company or anything like that, we're here to handle it all. Or they can go online and purchase some cool gear. That's 10-year anniversary coming soon. So we'll be doing our 10-year drop. I think it's going to be 8225 is what it's called. 8225.
Cool. And
that's pretty much it.
Hell yeah, man. Thank you for coming back on the show. It's been super sick to catch up with you. We got to do this more often and less, with less time in between.
Yeah, seriously. Like, wait, I didn't realize it was that long ago. That was
fucking crazy.
Almost 6 years ago.
I hate thinking about that because I'm like, okay, wait. Well, how does time go so fast? And the older we get, the faster it's going.
It's true, unfair. But you look the same, so it's all good.
Hopefully I look the same for a long time.
Yeah, same.
Hell yeah.
Cool. Okay, well, thanks a million, thanks for taking the time.
Absolutely.
And whenever you're out here, let me know. We can schedule some sort of shoot or something like that.
We'd love it.
Down.
Yeah, always down. Always down for a shoot.
If you have any friends that you think that could use merch stuff, like just let us know.
Absolutely.
Because we'll work out a kickback for you.
Word. That would be sick. Yeah, that, and I definitely want to chat about some stuff for, I've got, so many things going on, but definitely we're looking for merch and under a couple different like names and brands. So I definitely shoot you an email here after we get off and send you some info. Cool, man.
Awesome. Sounds good.
So guys, I hope that was insightful for you. I hope you learned a lot about growing a business. I hope you learned a lot about being able to pivot as an entrepreneur and as a business owner. If you guys have any questions or if you potentially want to come on to the show, let me know. My email is down in the description for you guys. And along with that are a bunch of affiliate links for products that I back heavily. So if you want to support me in the way of purchasing a product through an affiliate link, that would help the podcast grow. But yeah, if you want to come on the show, hit me up in the email and I will talk to you guys very soon with another episode. This has been Project Freelance. Thank you for tuning in. Stay strong, keep enduring, go out and go create something. I'll see you guys soon.